This is Two Chicks Talkin Flicks, where we review movies. Love them or hate them, someone's got to do it. So enjoy the show. Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm April.
And this is Two Chicks Talkin Flicks.
And anything else that gets in the mix.
So, April.
Yeah?
I realized something after we recorded our episode last week.
What is that?
So we have to do a little housekeeping.
Oh, no. I'm a terrible housekeeper.
Yeah. So remember how I said Diego Luna looked like the kid from The Hook?
You're thinking of the wrong kid, or?
Well, no, I had the correct kid. But we're both dumb. We know who that kid is.
Who is it?
And we're both dumb.
Am I?
Yes, because in 2004, when that movie came out, I should have known who that kid is and that he couldn't possibly be him as a grown-up.
Is it Dean?
No, it's William Lichter from Can't Hardly Wait.
No
That's
way.
who the kid is. I saw that and I was like, son of a bitch. We knew who that kid is.
Buddy, interesting.
Yeah, so I thought that was really funny. I was like, I thought that was our favorite movie, and we both completely shit the bed on that one. So I had to come on here and say my sorries.
Sorry.
Yeah. So I'm sorry.
Sorry.
But to my credit, he does look like him.
Whenever someone says like a sarcastic, like, sorry.
I'm sorry.
I think of South Park, the episode where they're making fun of BP. Because, so the oil spill that happened in the Gulf by the company BP?
Yeah.
They went like on this whole apology tour, and like South Park is making fun of it. And the guy's just like, sorry. And then like the one I remember the most is the scene where he's laying in front of a fireplace, butt naked, but on his stomach. And he has his feet kicked up behind him. He's like twiddling his toes and he's like, sorry. Like, I always think of that.
Oh.
I love South Park. I haven't watched it in a good while.
I've not seen it.
I need to show you my top 10 episodes.
Or,
The Tsk is great. The one where Cartman buys an amusement park is great.
If you show me your top 10 episodes of that, then I have to show you my top 10 episodes of Friends.
No.
Well, then I guess we'll
It's
just
different.
not going to do it.
It's different.
No?
I don't like Friends.
I don't like South Park.
You have never watched South Park.
I have watched South Park. And
But
the
you
one
haven't
episode
seen-
I watched, they didn't kill Kenny. I had heard nothing about anything, but they kill Kenny in every episode except for the first one that I watched. And I was like, you've got to be shitting me.
Yeah, well, it got old, so they had to change it
No, this
up.
was the first time they didn't kill him.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, it has some good episodes.
Well,
Okay. What would be your top 10 episodes of Friends?
God, there's so
You
many.
can only pick, let's do 5 because we'll be here all day.
Yeah. The leather pants episode. It's a New Year's episode. The one where no one's ready. It has trivia in it. The one with Brad Pitt. The one with there's 2 Thanksgiving ones. The one with Brad Pitt. The one with her sister Jill, which is Christina Applegate.
None of those sound like they're good.
No, they're really good. They're like the funniest episodes. And the one where Chandler and Joey find Monica's secret storage room of horror. Yeah, those are all really good ones.
Yeah, I don't see the appeal. Like, they don't even sound that interesting.
Ross wears leather pants, but when he goes and takes them off because he's really hot and sweaty, he tries to pull them back up and they won't come up because
He's sticky?
Because, well, I guess he expanded once he took them off. And then he can't get him back on. And then he calls somebody, and the person that he was trying to get doesn't answer. And so somebody else answers the phone, and they're like, well, do you see, they're trying to help him, and he's in a bathroom, and he's like, well, do you see any of this? And he's like, no, but I have powder. He's like, well, put some powder on. So he puts powder on, and that didn't work. And he's like, well, how about some lotion, lube him up. And he goes, well, the powder and the paste, or the powder and the lotion made a paste. He's like, well, what color is it? And he's like, why does that matter? He's like, well, if it's the same color as the pants, you can make a pair of paste pants and nobody will know. He ends up having to walk the streets of New York without any pants on. It's really funny.
So the Tisk episode is by far the best episode. You know how bad Cartman is, right? Yeah. You know that much. So the mom decides to get help. So she goes to the reality shows, and she goes to Nanny 911. And then, of course, the nanny can't do it. And then the nanny, the nanny's trying to have like a little heart-to-heart with him. And then he's like, why didn't you ever have any kids? And he's like, well, it just never happened. Is it because you're ugly and your vagina's all shriveled up and blah, 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 blah? And she has a mental breakdown. So then the mom calls Super Nanny. And then again, he tears her down, and they're both in the mental institute. So she doesn't know who to call. So then she calls the dog trainer who does it to the dogs, and he starts treating him like that. Starts doing tsk, tsk, and it is so good because it works. He finally starts getting trained. Meanwhile, the mom starts falling in love for Romano, I think his name is, and then he's like, okay, well, my work here is done. Bye. She's like, wait. What about us? No, I'm just here for the show. And so then he leaves, and then the mom is just like, okay, what do I do now? I don't have anybody. And then she goes up to Cartman's room. She's like, hey, do you want to watch TV with me? He's like, no, Mom, I'm doing my homework, and I've already brushed my teeth, and then I'm going to go to bed. And she's like, well, if you watch TV with me or something, I'll give you, a little brownie or something. And then she ruins all of the hard work. Best episode ever.
Tisk. Mm-hmm. Well, there's no good transition. So I'll just get into it. So we watched a movie today.
Yeah?
We watched a Joyride. Which it's kind of I guess
it's not very joyridey though.
Yeah, no, they're not really in a car very much.
No.
But it's sort of like Girls Trip meets The Hangover. Mm-hmm. Sort of.
I feel like Joyride is the default name because they couldn't think of anything better. like they probably had rules. We don't want something long.
Yeah.
We want to convey that it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a trip.
Yeah.
But we don't want you. So I think they had certain things they wanted to hit. And this was the best title they could come up with that encompasses what they wanted the title to be.
Yeah. I don't know of a better title.
Well, see, that's why that was the number one choice out of all of them.
Huh.
Because I feel, so this movie is a comedy.
Uh-huh.
Honestly, it doesn't take itself seriously, yet it has, a very positive message. And it is about self-discovery, and it has moments that are touching.
Yeah.
And they all definitely grow and change and become better people. Mm-hmm. So that's good. But how do you keep all of that in a title and keep it fun?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting. I kept seeing the same preview or little clip on TikTok. Basically, a an Asian family is at a park, and a white couple comes up to him and says, "Do you want to? Are you guys Chinese?" And they say yes, and they're like, "Do you want your daughter to meet our daughter?" And they're just kind of like, "Why?" And then their daughter peeks around, and she's Asian, and the girls take off, and then we find out that that little girl is an asshole.
They're from California,
Yeah.
and they've now moved to Seattle.
Yeah.
You know, and in California, you know, there's all walks of life of people, but this girl, she grew up rough.
Yeah.
You know, like she knew how to handle herself and handle you.
Yeah. Some boy came and said something racist to her, and she punched him.
Yeah.
And the girls became best friends.
Besties.
Yeah. And it's interesting because, like, would they have been friends had their parents not put them together if they were not the only Asian two kids in their area?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's kind of like, is Michael Jordan good at basketball because he loves basketball, or would he have been good at anything he tried because he just has that mentality in him?
Didn't he also play golf or baseball or something?
He does play golf, and he did play baseball. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they even bring that up in the movie. Like, we're just both Asian girls in this little town. Like, would we have been friends otherwise? And they decide probably not. But then we find out later, yeah, they probably would have been. Mm-hmm. I don't know what I thought the movie was when I heard of it. Like, I saw that it was coming out last year, and I never got a chance to go to the theater to see it. But I never really saw a preview of it. Like, I'd see like bits and pieces, but I never really saw like an actual trailer. So there was a lot of surprising things, but mostly, like, normally when we're watching a movie, I'm taking notes as we're watching. But at one point I just stopped taking notes. I was just watching it, and I was like, oh, I should probably. So it was very entertaining because I'd stopped taking my notes.
Yeah. For me, I've never heard of this movie. You sent a screenshot earlier. You're like, hey, let's do this movie. I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, first of all, I'm not a preview person.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't it was a screenshot.
No.
Oh, okay.
But like, you said you hadn't seen previews.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have seen a preview even
yeah.
if it existed.
Yeah.
I did see that first clip that you mentioned when they were little girls on TikTok.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what I was looking at. You know, I saw it, kept scrolling. Didn't know it was part of a movie. Didn't know where the hell it was from.
Yeah.
I just keep on going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought, for some reason, I thought Ali Wong was in it. I thought she wrote it, but maybe she did write it, but she wasn't in it. So I kept waiting for her to show up.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't there. I was like, oh, okay, guess not. But we did see Seth Rogen was one of the producers or something in it, which makes sense because that had a very Seth Rogen-y kind of feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we have
it's definitely up his alley.
Oh yeah. We have Audrey. She was adopted to a white family, and she doesn't feel like she really fits in anywhere. Mm-hmm. Like at work, I was surprised about how many racist comments were made towards her at her work in this movie, only because, like, I feel like that's something that would have been done in the 90s and early 2000s, and you don't really see that in movies as much anymore.
I feel that she's trying to fit in. Yeah. She's definitely, competitive, obviously,
And she's only a girl, right?
Yeah. So she has to, like, they always say when you're a girl or a woman, in a field dominated by men, you have to go the extra mile to be respected, you know, and all of that. So I feel like for the guys, she's one of the bros.
Yeah.
And, you know, they can take it there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, I don't know how she felt in the beginning, but I feel that the relationship she has now with her coworkers, she understands that's just the relationship she has with them and not to take it exactly to heart. And I feel that she would give as good as she gets.
Yeah. Well, and what's interesting is that when we have movies that are from a person of color nowadays, I feel like they can go there. They do that. They will put in those kind of jokes. But if this movie was mostly a white characters and they had an Asian character in there, you won't see. That's what I was meaning. Like you won't see that anymore, which is good. It's progress. So when that was happening, I was just like, that's a lot. Like, man.
Well, this movie definitely pushes the envelope, but I felt very comfortable. Like they didn't overstep the line. It was just right. Like this was excellent writing, proofreading, screenplay, updating, revisions. It was very well done.
Yeah. Yeah. I really liked a lot of that. Her boss was very aggressive though.
I finally looked him up and I know where he is. He's from Veep. He's that annoying. Oh gosh. But yeah, he was in Veep and I loved him. Noah, that was his name, Noah.
I've never seen Veep, but I've seen him in other stuff.
God, Veep is so good.
It's very interesting that you've seen Veep and I haven't seen Veep.
Well, I love
because it's a show.
I love Elaine Bennis.
Yeah.
I've seen Seinfeld. I did watch the new Old Christine.
I watched that too.
I didn't watch that religiously because I think it conflicted with something else, but I did enjoy that show and I loved Veep. I love Veep so much. I was kind of upset with the ending. I really was.
Well, don't tell me. Because I've never seen it.
Okay, you know what? I love the Veep so much. I would rewatch that whole series.
Well, I think we have our new podcast.
Yes. The Veeps.
Veep with me.
Oh, yes.
Give me a Veep.
I would be down. A summer of just reviewing Veep.
We have to see if that's a podcast that's already like a big market.
Hey, I don't care. They need to hear our opinions about Veep so that I can tell you how this show should have ended. Because,
well, it's kind of like this movie. I thought it was going to end a certain way, and I was a little disappointed, actually.
Yeah. I was surprised by the loopholes, like the, what is it, the twists and turns.
Yeah.
And then some unbelievable traveling itineraries.
Yeah. So we have Audrey's best friend is Lolo. She's an artist. She's kind of out there and does a lot of like in your face artwork.
Yep.
And then she has her cousin, Deadeye.
I thought it was Jedi, but like that's cool.
Yeah, it's Deadeye. And then we have Kat. She's an actress who went to college with Audrey and are consider a best friend. Purple. And of course, Lolo's upset about that because she considers her best friend. And so, madness ensues.
I feel like, obviously, you have, first of all, I think best friend is either A, one person, or B, you kind of, like for me, I don't think I've ever had just one best friend.
Yeah.
I've had close-knit friends. So for me, it's kind of like either they're all my best friends or I've outgrown it and we're all just friends. Like we're past like especially us, we're past the best in the friend part, you know, like BFFs, you know, like you know what, do you see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. What I find interesting is that when they do a male movie that has, let's just say 4 friends going on a trip, they won't have 2 of the friends
fighting
over being best friends with this other person. Now, they might have one person who is not best friends with everybody else and they kind of shit at him, like Alan.
I was thinking.
And he's the one that is like, wants to be best friends with everybody.
He really looks up to Bradley Cooper, though.
But in this movie, they always, if it's girls, they always have to have 2 people combating and mad and angry that they're, you know, taking the attention away. And I'm like, why does it always have to be that way? Your friend group isn't that way.
No.
All 4 of you are all best friends.
Yeah. And like, I guess in our situation, I don't want to say that we've matured because I feel like this is who we've always been, you know, but we can do things separately. Like, you know, 2 of us do this, 2 of us do that. Like, if somebody can't make it or doesn't come, it's fine. We'll catch you at the next one, you know, and we're all best friends when we see each other. You know, we don't talk every day. We don't, you know, we talk when we talk.
To be fair, you guys don't talk when you're together either.
What do you mean?
Like, you'll kind of just sit around and be like, lots of silence.
Well,
I can't handle it.
Yeah, because you can't be quiet.
I can't be quiet. No, I can't. No. I didn't grow up that way.
I guess that's just the same relationship I have in my family. Like, except for June. June's like, doesn't count. Like, he's just loud. But like my dad and me will just be sitting there on our phones and then be like, oh, look at this. Well, I show him stuff. He doesn't show me stuff. Maybe because I'm not interested in what he's watching. He knows better. But yeah, we're in the same room and that's good enough for us.
I guess.
With the TV on that nobody is watching.
That would drive me bananas.
Well, you know, I don't want to watch what he's watching anyways.
You know, when I was left in the living room with your best friend and her friend, I asked a very simple question. And she went on for about 10 minutes and never answered
what was my question.
I said, oh, how did you guys meet? And she told me all the information about who was there.
Okay.
And then asked you and clarified and then came back and never actually answered the question.
She actually asked me and like, I was trying, like, I definitely remember the second time we met, but the first time, because she was like, was so-and-so there? And I was like, I don't know. Because like, you know, sometimes everything just blurs together. And it's like, I don't remember. Like, well, I was definitely there when they met.
Yeah.
And I remember them dancing.
See, okay, I didn't even get that out of her.
Oh, okay.
It was literally, oh, so we were at this bar and this person was there and this person was there. And then she got up, went and asked you who the other people were, and then said, oh, no, that was when we went to the library. No, the library where you can drink library, the library.
No. Okay, so
and then she came back and sat down, and I was just like.
So here's the second time. The second time, remember, I lived near downtown. Yeah. We could walk there. So sometimes we would wait for the bus. And then if you got to this one point, you could get on the bus for free because riding in downtown is free. Mm-hmm. So sometimes we would wait for the bus because, you know, we didn't know what time it came. And we would start walking. And so then every time we got to the corner, we would stop and check to see if we saw the bus. Nothing. We'd keep going. Sometimes we would walk all the way to downtown. Sometimes we would stop at the free point, but whatever. So anyways, we went to downtown and then we went to the actual library because, you know, we're two broke girls.
Yeah.
And so then I guess Ira called him, and then she was like, "Oh yeah, we're at the library," and we're like, "No, the real library." And then he was like, "We should go to the library." So then we went to the actual drinking library to meet up, and we drank, and then I remember he gave us a ride back to my house.
Okay, but she had to have known him first.
Yes,
to call him.
But I can't remember. Okay, we either met him in one of two places. Okay. Oh gosh, I can't remember the name of this bar because they kept getting bought and kept getting renamed. Yeah. Does she say who was there?
Yeah, yes. Who was there? The only thing she didn't tell me was how she met him.
Because I think she mentioned Booyah, and I was like, no, Booyah was another night. Yeah, but I feel like it was me, it was Christine, it was her cousin, obviously Ira. Yeah. But like, okay, the place so at that place, they all kind of run in together, okay?
Okay.
Like I remember one time I sat at the little machine, okay? And they have like this little machine where you like play. It's like a little casino machine, but you don't win money. Okay. But me and Rhonda would play together because it was a touch screen so that we could try to get the highest score. Because obviously if you're playing with one person, you only have 2 fingers. But if you're playing with 2 people, you have 4 fingers. So we would always try to like hit the highest score. And I remember one night we sat there all night, and guys kept coming up to us, and we're like, "Can we have some quarters? Can we have some quarters?" Because the machine took quarters. Later, when the lights came on, we saw that on top you could put dollars in it. Anyway, so the guys kept getting quarters, and then later somebody told us like, "Yeah, you guys finished up all the quarters at the bar." Behind you, the bartenders were opening the machine to get quarters out just so you could continue playing. And we were like, "Oh, for real? That's cool." Anyways, I remember that night, when the lights came on, we were like, "Oh, it's time to go." We stood up. Oh my God. Oh, you know what? I think that was the night that we met Booyah, maybe. Okay, so here's what happened. So one time, I don't know if it's the same time. No, you know what? It is. Because he was the one who kept giving us quarters. Okay, yeah, it was that night. Okay. I don't know if the other person was there. Because, he didn't talk to me. But anyways, we were like, let's go outside and let's go meet somewhere. And then we got into Christine's car, and then they got in their truck, and they ended up crashing, I don't know into what, a tree, a pole, whatever. And so then, we go and we're like, "What happened?" And we have a picture of that somewhere. And so then one of them like puts his head like towards the dent in the front to make it look like he headbutted it. Anyways, so that was, we couldn't remember the guy's name, okay? So we just kept calling him Booyah. And then the next week we went out to the same bar or something, and we ran into them again. And then they were talking to Christine, one of them was, and they invited us over to a Halloween party. Oh, it was around October. So then we went to Booyah's house, or somebody's house, to the party. And it turns out they're friends with Jose. Jose is brothers with Sandra. Small world. Now I know all of them.
So,
yeah.
After all that,
yeah,
I still don't know how they met each other.
Okay,
it's fine.
It's either
fine.
there.
You know what? I don't need to know anymore. But
listen, we were drunk.
This is exactly what I was saying. I sat there and had a 10-minute conversation and found out 0 information about the one thing I asked. And then what's really
you should
funny,
have asked him.
No, what's really funny is that he goes, "You didn't answer her question."
Why didn't you ask him then?
So then I turned to her and I said, "How's your brother?" And then he asked, "Oh, did you guys go to high school together?" And I said, "No. I used to work with April." Mm-hmm. And that's where our conversation ended.
Honest, I was definitely there. Okay.
All I know is that if they ever got married, let's just say they get married, they're gonna need to come up with like a cute story of how they met and actually like practice it and let people know, because I can't go through that again.
Do you want me to tell you another story about that same bar?
Maybe after we're done recording.
It's a really good one.
I don't know. Okay, let's put up a poll. Do you want to hear April's other story? Let us know.
Actually, I have a few stories about that bar, so we should probably like just spread them out, and then I can look up.
Savor.
I can look up what the name of the bar is. Like I know they went to. Okay, that's so funny because they had one name for the longest time. And then they changed names, and I can only remember the changed names. I think it was Southern Nights, Southern something. And then they got bought out a few more times, and I don't know what the hell they're called anymore.
Don't you hate that?
Yep. Oh my gosh, I got a lot of bar stories, actually.
Yeah.
Thinking of a few.
So they are going to China. And they're going to meet up with her friend Kat. Mm-hmm. And Kat is an actress, and she's on a very popular
drama.
Yeah, drama. And her fiance is also the lead in the show. Mm-hmm. And they are saving themselves for marriage.
Yeah.
But we find out that Kat
is the wild one.
Very wild. Mm-hmm.
First of all, they were best friends since college days.
Yeah. And Lolo, her childhood best friend, finds out that Kat has a tattoo.
I love this bit.
On her
J.
Her JJ. And there's like a whole montage of her asking questions. And when we're watching a movie, April always decides what character she is. Mm-hmm. And as soon as we saw Deadeye, she was like, well, that's me.
Duh, Jedi. Yeah. Deadeye, duh.
I thought I was more of the Audrey just because she's more of the straight person in the movie.
Sarah's not a cusser or like in your face kind of person.
I'm a cusser, but yes, no, yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm not as aggressive.
Yeah. I said Sarah should be Lolo just because she's artistic.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. But then as soon as Lolo started asking questions about the tattoo, I was like, okay, no, that's me. Because I totally would have done that.
She did not drop it. And then I love that she even says, she's like, I can't stop talking about it.
Yeah, she's like, can we just stop? And she's like, you know what? I took it to heart what you said. But yeah, no, I'm not going to drop it.
Yep.
Just answer her question.
So one of the things that she was speculating is like, is it a sunflower? So then that got stuck in my head. I was like, oh, it's a sunflower, And then what I love, my favorite part of this movie is when you see what it actually is.
Yeah.
And they show it to you. Yes.
Would you like to tell the people?
I think we should build up to that moment.
Savor. So we find out that she may or may not have a tiny sunflower tattoo down there. Mm-hmm. And so we find out that Audrey's mom had an open adoption. Mm-hmm. And while they're there, her friend had already called and made arrangements to see if they can meet her mom. Mm-hmm. And she's going to China on business, trying to get some, they never finished that story. I just thought about that. Like, she got fired.
Yeah. But basically, since she's the only Asian one.
Yeah, they sent her.
Yeah. And she's not like...
She's very Americanized.
Yeah. Just imagine, think about it. Suburbia, what real Asian culture are you going to have that's like true, other than your best friend's family? Yeah. So if you're not like indoctrinated into like for example, Mexican food, you're very accustomed to like, on the border type Mexican food. Yeah. but I can't see you eating menudo. Like, I just can't.
Yeah, probably not.
And honestly, I would not eat menudo if I knew what it was, but I grew up with it.
Yeah.
And it's delicious. But, there's some stuff like barbacoa. I didn't know what that was until June went to his friend's house.
That stuff is good.
And his family was making fresh barbacoa. Do you know where it's from?
I don't want to know.
Okay. So he was there and he was like, hey, what's that? And I was like, oh, that's where barbacoa comes from. And then, of course, June came home and told us about it.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't eat barbacoa like I used to.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, like there's some people here in Texas that, their family is from Mexico, but they moved here and they're indoctrinated in the United States and they don't speak Spanish.
Yep. They call them the no sabo kids.
Yeah.
And I think it's messed up that you make fun of those kids because, one, they're not the ones that chose not to learn this language.
Yeah.
I feel it happens in the third generation. Because, like obviously me, I have to know Spanish to speak with my dad, to speak with my grandmother and other family members. But, if I had a child, I would primarily, the child would grow up in an English household. Yeah. And I don't know how much Spanish they would learn because I don't speak it.
I don't know. This is just coming from someone obviously who doesn't have any kind of background that would, pertain to that. But I probably would put them in classes or something as a kid just so they
see,
so they get it, but they also, I'm not doing it to them.
So, how much I love kids.
Yeah.
I was, when you think, okay, win the lottery, what kind of job would I have? Because obviously the first few years, 4, 5, 6 years, travel, do whatever the hell you want. But then after that, I feel like I would need something to do. And I've thought of so many different types of jobs. And then one of them I thought of was like, you know what? I would want to have affordable daycare because as a rich millionaire, I could do that for the people.
Yeah.
And then it would be Spanish only.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we would have, just people that just speak Spanish to the kids or are bilingual that are primarily going to speak Spanish to the kids. And meals will be included that are going to be like Spanish meals, like eat authentic Mexican food. And, we'll watch them up until they go to pre-K, like 4 years old or something.
I wish I spoke Spanish or at least a little bit. I only know words, like very individual words. I don't know sentences or not a lot of sentences. And, a part of me is like, oh, I really would like that so then I can help more people. And then the other part of me is like, you live here in the United States. You haven't learned any English enough to communicate.
But that's the thing. You don't have to. You can live in pockets that just, and
which
then
sucks.
Especially here in Texas, everywhere you go, there's bound to be someone that knows Spanish, or at least knows enough to get the main points across.
Yeah.
Like obviously crisis, emergencies, but you go to a convenience store, what are you going to do? Ask for a name brand. Hey, where's the coca? You're like, oh, okay, over there, Yeah,
because I had someone call yesterday and the person was trying to transfer him to me and they had the translator and the translator hung up. And so the person was just on the phone and there was nothing I could do and it wasn't for my claim, but they had said it was for me and I was like, it's not mine. So I told them they need to call the adjuster, just transfer over to the adjuster. And then the guy just kept calling me and I answered and I would tell him, hold on a moment so I can get a translator. And then he would just hang up. But the translators were putting me on hold. and they weren't coming to the phone quick enough.
Sometimes I call the translator first.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do that, but I was just on hold, and he kept calling me called me like 6 times.
Oh, did you get the memo about there being a new translation line number?
Oh, maybe that's what the problem was.
Yeah.
No one gave that to me.
Yeah.
But anywho,
I'll send you the text or
yeah,
email or whatever they sent.
The guy, he spoke very little English, and I speak very little Spanish, and I was just like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm trying. I was just like, don't hang up. And he's like, no English. And I was like,
was text message set up?
I have no idea. I don't have access to that. So
you can't do that.
I can't use Hi Marley.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I messaged the adjuster and he's like, I'll call him back in just a moment. And then 15 minutes later, I'm like, hey, he has called me 5 times at this point. And then at one point I was on hold with the translator and I could see he was on hold. He's like, oh, I'm talking to him right now. I'm like, then why is it still showing he's on hold?
Because he clicked. Oh, so the adjuster probably called and then he clicked over.
Guess. Jerk. I was just sitting
well,
here
if he
waiting.
can't use his phone, be thankful he learned how to click over.
Oh, that's true. All right. So this movie.
Yeah. We should watch Workaholics or like Office Space and then talk about work.
Yes, Office Space. So they are trying to go see. Oh, so she meets the business guy, and they have a very funny like a bar scene where they're taking all these shots. One is like an egg shot.
Yeah, it has 1,000-year egg. I've never heard of 1,000-year egg. I've heard of century eggs.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, oh my God, that must be so expensive.
Yeah, and everybody was taking them down like a champ except for Audrey. She was just like,
honestly, I feel that the alcohol would probably make it easier to swallow just because the alcohol would overpower the egg part.
Yeah.
But she couldn't put mind over matter.
All I know is that I took a shot of tequila once. It was blue. I don't.
The spider one?
I don't know.
That one's the good one.
All I know is that it went into my mouth and then came right back out.
That's a smooth one.
It tasted like Windex.
I think it's called tarantula.
I don't know. But whatever it was, it tasted like Windex and it was disgusting. And my mouth couldn't keep it in. And I was like,
Was it tequila?
So
I remember there was a blue alcohol liqueur and it was delicious.
There's a rum that's blue, but it's good. But I don't know.
You know what I've never had? I've always wanted that Bombay gin. It looks so pretty. But I've never, like, gin is martinis, right?
Sure.
I don't know. I had one martini and I didn't care for it. Actually, I've had a few martinis, but the first one I didn't care for.
Yeah. So they were doing these weird games. Okay. Uh-huh.
I thought I told Susan to order me a margarita. Did she or no?
I think she thought you were joking.
Oh. No, I was serious.
Oh. I think she thought she was joking.
You see how much I missed it.
Yeah. You just remembered 3 hours later.
Did you leave my drink back there?
No. They did not give me
Should I go back and get my
I ordered a margarita, damn it.
My frozen margarita.
So they're playing all these different games, and one of them was a slap game.
That would look like fun. I wouldn't want to play it, but I wouldn't mind watching.
And so she slapped the boss guy.
Like hardcore.
And the whole restaurant stopped, or bar stopped.
Yes.
And he's like, that didn't even hurt.
Of course. I'm sure it did hurt, but of course he had to show
his
face.
mouth was bleeding. So
exactly.
It probably hurt.
Well, I kept saying, like, don't wear a ring. Don't wear a ring. So
right.
I didn't actually look at her hands to see if she had a ring on or not. So.
But then I was like, she's going to throw up. I thought he was going to slap her and she was going to throw up.
Uh-huh.
But nope, she did throw up just on him. And she's like,
and
oh
she kept going. Oh, I think the worst part was when she threw on, what is it, Jedi?
Dead eye.
Jedi!
It was dead eye.
Jedi.
Because when she looks at you, she looks like she's dead.
Oh.
Because she gives you the dead eye stare.
I still like Jedi better. Because she's a Star Wars fan, is what I said.
Yeah, no, she's a K-pop fan.
I'm a K-pop fan. Well, I went through a phase. You know, I've gone through quite a few phases.
Yeah, true.
I'm in my Harry Potter phase right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he only wants to do business with her if he can show her that she's close to her family. And so they go on this mission to find her mom.
Which is stupid.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I was mad at Lola because it's like, when he said that, I was like, okay, well, just why can't we use Lola's family and pretend they're my family?
Yeah.
You know, like, why go through this scavenger hunt looking for her real mom when she wasn't really, like, into the idea?
Well, it sounds like she was. She just got scared.
I feel like that should have been its own trip, not a work trip.
Well, they had always talked about doing that one day. And then, I mean, I want to go to Paris, but if I was going for work, I'd still go see the Louvre. Like, nothing would change.
But would you go and like bring emotional damage into your life?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. If I found out I was adopted and my family lived in England and I was going to England, there is no other time that I probably will ever be there. So I might as well do it while I'm there.
I feel like it would have to be a separate tip. I'm not going to mix business with pleasure or heartache.
Yeah. No.
C'est la vie. At least save it for the last day.
That is true. Yeah. So they go on this adventure, they go on a train and they're looking through the train cars and they all look kind of suspicious. And then she sees no, none
of them look suspicious to me.
Well, that's what she thinks. They look suspicious.
They're minding their business.
And then she gets to the third one and it's this American girl sitting there all creepy by herself. And I thought it was like a trafficking sort of situation.
Because when she was like, "Is anyone here with you?" and she's kind of like, "No," like, is she hiding from somebody?
Yeah, like she was like, "No, they're not here right now," or "They're here," or whatever.
Yeah, she's just said it weird, and I did think that was something going on.
And so they all went into the room, and then find out she's a drug dealer. And
like, you knew it, you know, like as the conversation went, you know, she's like, "Oh yeah, people here in China are the best, you know, they got all kinds of shit here, you know," and then you're like, "Well, how do you know all of that?"
Well, and also right before they got on the train, which we all knew was something was going to go down,
they consolidated all of their important
never
documents.
Consolidate your documents. Don't bring your passport unless you absolutely need it. Keep that shit at the hotel. You don't keep it on your person unless you have to. And she put it in her secret, like, little bag thing.
And then stuck it in a suitcase.
Yeah, their friend's like, "No, just put it in the suitcase." And she's like, "Okay."
Honestly, I don't know. So in the end, they got robbed by the white chick. How did 4 of them get a suitcase stolen from them?
It was a big suitcase too.
Like, they should have just changed the story where it's still in the backpack.
Yeah.
And then, because that's at least easier, because you could grab the backpack, put it on, and just run.
Yeah.
Just jet.
Yeah.
You know? But anyways, so all of a sudden, she's like, "You know what? You guys are being weird. I'm out of here."
Yeah.
She takes off. Then she comes running back and she's like, "Oh shit, the feds."
Yeah.
You know? And she's like, "I've got drugs on me. You have to help me." They can't open the window to chunk it out. So they in their panicking wisdom, you know, they're like, "We're all going to go down together. So you better help me."
Yeah.
They decide to do the drugs.
Well, no. So, okay. My first thing would be I have a lot of room in my bra. So I would just start shoving it in my bra.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, they didn't quite do that. They stuffed it up their butts, vaginas, inhaled it.
Very airport.
Yeah.
Like you're smuggling in an airport.
And then the people were like, we don't really want to dig through their buttholes. So
no, let's just kick them out. And they get kicked out. Obviously, the train stops in the middle of nowhere.
Of course.
And then next scene, the four of them are there and be like, so-and-so stole our information. It's like, how?
Yeah.
That is a huge suitcase. Not even a little like over the, thing or under the seat suitcase. No, it's a big one. Like you could stick a person inside this suitcase, like a normal sized person in this suitcase.
Yeah. And yet it got taken.
I don't even know how. But anyways, so they decide that they're going to continue on their trip. They're still hallucinating. So when one of them says, I think I see a car, the other ones are not sure. But anyways, this is like, what I do like is like each one of them kind of have their moment.
Yeah.
So at first it was Kat, with her celebrityness.
Yeah.
She's like, oh yeah, I'll be your translator. I'm cool. I'll get you here in and out. Next, when they get rescued off the side of the road, it's from Lola's like online boyfriend, who is like the Chinese Globetrotters type, like team, basketball team or something, comes and picks them up. They go into the next town to a hotel where things get so interesting.
Everybody got some.
Yeah. And only the ladies enjoyed it.
Yes.
Which is nice.
Yeah. All the basketball players got injured.
Yeah. And then Lola's boyfriend is like, now I have to play the game by myself. They looked so pitiful.
They really did.
So Deadeye has a dance off with like a BTS fan, and he is too hardcore that he like he pulls muscles, and then
the other guy broke his pelvis.
Oh, yeah.
On a massage gun.
Yeah. So two of them are working out.
Yeah.
And then she pulls a muscle. He's like, oh, I have this thing that'll work.
It's
and
a
so
massage
then,
gun.
Yeah. So when you're using it like on deep muscles, like, yeah. And if you're in pain, it'll feel nice.
Uh-huh.
But if you use it on a bony place that, it's going to hurt.
Yes.
Or if there's more sensitive areas, it's going to hurt. So she tries to return the favor.
Yeah.
And, it's just not the same consistency. So
he get injured.
yeah.
And then
Audrey has the best story to tell.
Yeah, both guys clank, clank, clanked with the trolley, ding, ding, ding with the bell, knocked each other out. But she got hers, so.
Yep, she did. It was a good night, I feel.
Yeah.
But they did get, ditched again.
Yes.
So now they're hitchhiking, and that was a fun little montage.
It was.
I think the cutest one is where, there's this little kid on a scooter giving them a ride. And it's very like, like Taiwan, like Philippines,
Yeah. They make it to Lolo's and Deadeye's family.
Uh-huh.
And then they realize they don't have their passports.
Mm-hmm.
And they find out that she is actually not Chinese.
Oh.
That Audrey is actually Korean.
Yes.
And her mom is in Seoul.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way to get there is they need their passports. And so they're trying to figure out ways to get there. And here comes Deadeye with her moment.
Yep. So she dresses them up as K-pop stars. Brownie Tuesday, which is an awesome name. And then I love their names. It's like Cutie Pie and like Sunshine, and then like Lisa too. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, yes, that would totally happen in a K-pop band. But I feel that they got too early to the hangar. because they're like, well, you need travel documents. And they're like, no, you don't understand. We're like Brownie Tuesday. We just had 9 million downloads. We just had our debuts and blah, blah, blah. They're like, no, we need passports. We need travel documents. It's like, you need to let us on our plane. When Deadeye's friend shows up, she has a moment too. It's like, you know what? I have all these online friends and that's all they are. They're never going to like, you know, like do anything for me. And then her online friend shows up and he shows up in this fancy cars, all dressed to the nines, looking very managerial. Well, K-pop managerial.
Yeah.
And he even shows up with fans. And then they're like, these girls are my band and I will prove it to you. And so then they start, I guess, live streaming or whatever.
Yeah.
And they do... So they're trying to figure out, like, what song do we all know? And what is it? WAP by Cardi B? Yeah.
It's like a version of it, yeah.
Yeah, but oh my God. The video part of it, because they recorded it like a video, was very well. The singing, it had its good parts, it had its bad parts. Like, the singing, they weren't really selling it on some parts, like, they're not really hitting them notes, you know? But either ways, wonderful montage. And then there comes the part where one of them accidentally steps on Kat's skirt.
Yeah.
And so then in the grand finale, when Kat steps forward, her skirt gets ripped down, along with her underwear, apparently, or she was going commando.
I think she was going commando.
And there it is. We see it.
Yeah. It's not a sunflower tattoo.
No, you would have never guessed.
It's the devil.
And not only that, okay, when I was thinking a sunflower, I was thinking like little. Yeah. And I mean, like, this is the stem. Like, you know, like the entire sunflower would have been like your pinky, like the stem and the flower. Yeah. No, this thing took up the whole area.
Caboodle.
Yeah. And
the mouth is the vagina.
Yes. And not only that, she has a breakdown and she's like, it's not only that, it's on the inside. And then you see like an outer view. Yeah. And you see like, I don't know, was it horns?
I don't know.
Or wings? Or
I wasn't quite sure what.
I feel like there were horns. And I was just like, again, I became a little bit like Lola. I started thinking, it's like, okay, so do you do the outside first, you know, and then you let yourself heal and then you do the inside? Yeah. Like you can't do the inside while you're on your period. Like, I just start thinking of like, how?
Also, why?
I mean, if you're already committing to that, like
she's tried everything to get rid of it. That's the funniest part. And it won't go away. So it's just like, first of all, why would you want to do that and have someone all up in your grill stabbing you with their tattoo gun? You've been tattooed. Yeah. What would you get a tattoo in your nether regions?
So I'm not a person like never say never. Yeah. I cannot see a situation where I would even consider that. Like, but if you said, April, I'll give you $1 million, like, fuck yeah. Like, fuck yeah, I'll do it.
There's so many other things I would get tattooed down there versus the devil. Like, maybe
I gave you $1 million, Sarah.
Like, I'm thinking the Cookie Monster. Like, maybe something in that neighborhood.
So you wouldn't get that devil for $1 million. It's $1 million, Sarah.
No, not a devil.
No. $1 million.
No.
I would.
Not the devil.
You can get a cute one. You don't have to get the same one.
Like, if it was a Lucifer's devil, you know, the guy who played Lucifer, maybe. Tom Ellis. Get him on my vagina. Hello. That'd be weird. But yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
But only to be upped by Deadeye, because they meet up later, a year later, for their girls' trip too. This time they're in Paris.
Yes.
And they're like, hey, we should go get matchy tattoos, little devils. And the girl's like, oh, I got one. And they're like, what?
And then she starts lowering her pants.
Like, no, I got one.
And then she lowers down her pants, and you see only the girls' faces, but you see like a light flashing in their face. And I think I had the same conclusion when they said it out loud. I was like, it lights up. It's like, my God.
They go, oh, it lights up. Oh. Like they were like, ooh, just so entertained.
So you know what I thought about when I saw that? I thought about The Dark Knight when Joker stuck that phone into that guy, and then he gets a call and you can see the phone ringing through his skin.
Yeah.
That's what I thought about.
It was very interesting. My one thing that I thought would happen that didn't happen was they would be in Paris, they'd get on a train, and homegirl drug dealer would be there, and that's how it would end.
Yeah.
I liked how it ended with the tattoo. However, I thought they were really missing an opportunity where,
So, when you said that, I was like, oh, you know what would have ended that funny? If they're all, looking at the tattoo, and then she starts walking by, and you know how all the girls are looking down? One of them looks up, and she's like, hey! And then they all look up, and then you just see them maybe chasing a blonde girl.
Yeah.
Like, we all know who it is. You don't have to show us everything, but and then maybe the waiters start chasing them, like Door Dashers, or what is it? Like Dine and Dash,
or even she can be like, hey, cool tattoo, and it's her. Like, that would have been great too.
Yeah, like I feel like they should have gotten into trouble in Paris, just
something.
Like kind of like The Hangover.
Yes.
Like you see the beginning of the next, joyride, Euro trip, like part 2.
Yeah, I thought that was like a missed
opportunity.
Yeah. We did forget, she finds out that her mom actually was dead.
Oh yeah.
And so she goes to the cemetery, and of course the husband just happens to be there, and he shows her a video that the lady made for her daughter if she ever got to see it one day. And it's all very sad and very nice. And her friends actually set that up for her, even though they were all got in a big fight. And then they all make up and blah, 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 blah.
So just how her adoption happened. Basically, she was young. She got knocked up. Boyfriend walked out of there.
Yep.
Her parents were ashamed.
Of course.
And they sent her to China to give birth and then give up the baby. So that's how she ended up in a Chinese orphanage and being adopted out.
Yeah.
And because she never really wanted to give up the baby, but she didn't have a choice, that's why she allowed, like, hey, if you ever want to find me, you can. I'm open to that. So, and that was really touching, like her mom,
Yeah.
So I don't know if she knew that the child would be adopted by Americans, or maybe, some orphanages work with certain countries. So then you assume they're going to be adopted by Americans or at least English speakers.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah. And she was like, I don't know if you're a doctor or a lawyer or I don't remember the third option, but I was like, oh, she is a lawyer, which worked out. But yeah, so April.
Yes.
Any other thoughts on this movie?
I really liked it. Like, I feel like kind of like past the midway point, it had my undivided attention.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad we picked this movie.
Yes.
I feel like we needed a comedy, like a good comedy.
Definitely. And I like that we didn't know what we were getting into.
That's true. It is fun to kind of like not
Just
know it
go
all.
with the flow.
Yeah.
Let the director tell their story.
Yes. So April, what would you rate it?
I would rate this 8 out of 10. You're not Chinese. Give me back my dress. Because Lolo, when they met her family, you know, she was going to meet her mom. They let her borrow a dress. And when they find out she's Korean, they were like, give me back my dress.
Yeah. They were all very mad about that.
Yeah.
I would have to say, yeah, I think an 8 out of 10. It lights up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's what I would have to give it. We really enjoyed it. It's now on Amazon Prime. You can rent it, or if you have Stars, it's free.
Another thing I liked about this film is that they are average friends.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't get the prettiest. I mean, obviously they're not ugly, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like usually with movies, you try to find like all the hot girls
Yes.
to be the main characters. Yeah. And in this one, they're all beautiful,
Yeah.
but they're normal. Some are tall, some are short, some are chubby. They're they are full of confidence. They, you know, like another thing is I think with Kat had bigger breasts.
Yeah.
And in Asia, you know, they're not big breast people.
No.
You know, they're all about the long legs.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, she has boobs.
She did.
And the devil on her vajay.
That went viral. We forgot to say that. They were recording it.
Yes. So remember, she's an actress. So people know who she is.
Yeah. Well, what's really bad though is that they're all dressed up as K-pop members, and when they're not in their K-pop, they're still getting recognized. And I was like, how would you even know? Because they looked completely different. I mean, we knew who they were because we knew who they are, but like.
So have you ever heard the term netizen?
No.
Okay, so the first time I heard netizen was when I was going through my K-pop Korean phase. They are internet citizens. So they're kind of like sleuths. They will find out every single thing about you.
I guess, yeah.
So netizens will have found out somehow that they're in the country. Oh, guess how they finally got into the country? They got smuggled in on like a cargo ship.
Yeah.
And they're like stuck like in the animal pit, and one of them's like holding a pig, and the other one's like, I can't stand these chickens anymore. And then Deadeye all of a sudden takes a chicken, and then you hear a crack. And then they're like, did you just kill that chicken? And she's like, no. And that totally would have been me. I would have denied until you die.
Yup.
Because that's how you do it.
So.
Yeah.
Well, guys, the time has come.
Gents.
Our episode is over.
It is. Toodles.
So.
Get out of here.
See you
Go
next
live
week.
your life.
What are you still doing here?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Go to the next episode. God.
Jesus
so weird.
Christ. Toodles.
Bye. This episode was produced by Two Chicks Talkin Flicks. Music was produced by Michael Giovanni. If you like this episode, please like and subscribe. If you'd like to be a part of the show, have a movie suggestion, or just want to give us some love, you can email us at twochickstalkinflicks@gmail.com. Thanks, guys. Toodles.